I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpm.fm to discover more.
Hi, friends. It's Susan Blackwell.
And Laura Camion from The Spark File, your friendly neighborhood creativity coaches. We help creatives just like you clarify and accomplish your creative goals.
If one of your goals has been cultivating more creativity in your life, but your consistency has been, let's say, elusive, we might have the support you need. The Spark File Creative Community.
If you've been curious about the Spark File experience, but you haven't had the time or resources to invest in a full coaching program, the Spark File Creative Community might be the perfect fit.
The Spark File Creative Community is where your ideas get nurtured, your practice becomes consistent, and your creativity gains traction with daily sparks, weekly labs, monthly coaching sessions, real momentum, and actual humans who care about your work. Because around here, we always say, everyone is creative, but smart creatives don't go it alone.
So come fan your creative flames with us. Monthly or annual pricing is available. Plus, it's risk-free because your first 14 days are free. Come take a look-see.
Learn more about the SparkFile Creative Community at thesparkfile.com.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep-end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
The Sparkfile podcast may contain profanity and other adult content.
Please use your discretion.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Welcome to the Spark File, where we believe that everyone is creative. Everyone. But smart creative people don't go it alone.
I'm Laura Camion.
And I'm Susan Blackwell, and we are creativity coaches who help people clarify and accomplish their creative goals.
Know that just by listening to this podcast, you are joining a warm and wonderful clan of creatives.
Hold up. You may be asking yourself, what exactly is a Spark File?
Well, a Spark File is a place where you consistently collect all of your inspirations and fascinations. Every episode, we're going to reach into our Spark Files and exchange some sparks. And from time to time, we may even talk to some other folks who spark us too.
And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take some of those sparks of inspiration and make something of your own. So without further ado, let's open up
the Spark
File. Laura Camion.
Susie Blackwell.
How you doing over there, spring day?
I'm doing pretty good. It looks like it might rain on this spring day. If you know anything about me, you know I like a rainstorm.
She loves a rainy night.
I love a rainy night.
We can't clear that tune. We don't have the rights to that.
But it's true.
It already rained here. It was a beautiful downpour, and this is rainbow season. When it rains where I live and the sun comes out, we get these gigantic full rainbows and double rainbows.
And pots of gold.
And pots of gold. That's right.
Ooh.
I'm swimming in doubloons. Scrooge McDuck style.
Give me that gold.
Yeah. I'm diving into them. I'm wiggling my butt around. Doubloons are flying. Laura Camion, can I interest you in a creative spark?
I'm so here for a creative spark. It's why I showed up. It's what I'm yearning for.
I think I said it on an earlier episode of the Spark File podcast, but I have been looking for those sparks that are I'm like, what are the things that are so obvious that we have not talked about in 7 seasons, 6 years of this podcast?
Yeah.
Yes. And so this week, I thought it would be fun to spark a bit around the concept of the creative muse.
Ooh, I like it.
If you are a creative, if you've been around creatives, you may have heard them talk about waiting for the muse to visit, waiting for the muse to strike, which I guess has become a metaphorical way of saying that you're waiting for an aha or a creative breakthrough,
Lightning bolt.
a good idea, or for your block, your writer's block to sort of free up, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There was a time, though, when the idea of a muse was not a metaphorical exploration of the mystery surrounding creativity. A
Oh,
muse was thought to be a literal being. According to an article in Jester Daily, I never know how to pronounce that, JSTOR Daily, this article by Allison Habens. In the beginning, there was just one unnamed muse. The bard Homer, who was born around 850 BC, invoked this muse in the first lines of his epic poem, The Odyssey, with the words, "Sing, daughter of Zeus." Homer was talking about the muse, who was a daughter of Zeus.
wow.
Then, as mythology evolved, there were said to be 3 muses whose names I'm pretty sure I'm about to mispronounce. Melite, who was the muse of practice,
Mm-hmm.
Meme, who was the muse of memory, and Aode, who was the muse of song. Practice, memory, and song, perhaps embodying the basic creative process of early humanity. I think that's interesting.
I like it.
Isn't it? Isn't it fun?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, 9 muses were identified covering every branch of the arts, and they had names like Calliope, who was the muse of epic poetry, often represented in statuary and in paintings holding a writing tablet. That's Calliope. Cleo, the muse of history, often holding a scroll. That's one of your gals, Laura Camion.
I love Cleo.
You are Cleo, Miss Cleo. Euterpe? I don't know. Euterpe? I just wanted to say Euterpe's name because Euterpe was the muse of flutes, often depicted, you guessed it, playing a flute. I love the specificity.
It's suggestive as well. I like it.
She could play the skin flute. Polymnia, the muse of sacred poetry or of the mimic art, which I think is sort of, it's either mimes or it's dramatic actors, often shown with a pensive look. Polymnia. And Terpsichore, the muse of dancing and choral song, often shown dancing and holding a lyre. Terpsichore, also known as the muse of show choirs. Actually, picture the muses in Xanadu, right?
Oh, yes.
Remember the muses? There's a what do we make of it?
Wow.
Full disclosure, I've never seen the movie.
Xanadu?
I know. I need to see it. I need to dial that up.
Well, I don't know how it's held up, but
probably not well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a Broadway musical. Haven't seen that either.
Me neither.
But my understanding is Terpsichore, oh, I hope I'm getting this right, actually was represented by Olivia Newton-John's character, Kyra? Anyway, muses. They're just like us.
Muses and pronunciations.
So related but distinct from muses are demons. Demons and muses represent 2 distinct yet often overlapping concepts in Greek mythology regarding the source of human creativity and inspiration. And while both are interpreted as external forces influencing creativity, they differ slightly. The demon is a personal guide for a specific human, whereas the muse is a universal source of inspiration.
But the demon, I mean, maybe I'm just hung up on the name here, but it doesn't sound good. Do we want a demon?
The word demon with a slightly different spelling. Also, we picture a little devil with a pokey pitchfork.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a different meaning of that word. And it means this specific personal guide for a specific human and their creative self-expression.
Wow.
Whereas a muse, again, is a universal source of inspiration. And in many artistic interpretations, the two demons and muses are merged, with the demon acting as the personal channel for the inspiration provided by the muses.
The muse.
Laura,
Interesting. Yeah.
as I think you know, I have been rereading the writing of Philip Pullman, his Dark Materials, The Golden Compass, if you know, you know,
I know.
in which all the people in this particular world have demons. And
That's right.
when you
That's
hit
right.
puberty, instead of your demon being constantly changing, so it's a bird, it's a beetle, it's a meerkat, it's a house cat, it becomes fixed when you hit a certain age.
Uh-huh.
And so they're different animals and they all have different names. Laura Camion, if you had a demon, what animal would it be and what would it be named?
I've always thought my spirit animal was a fish out of water because always when I'm in Kansas, I always feel like a New Yorker. When I'm in New York, I feel like a Kansan. Yeah.
Do you know, in The Golden Compass, one of those books, they talk about a sailor whose demon became fixed as a fish, which meant the sailor always had to be at sea.
Oh, wow.
Because you can't go too far from your demon. It creates sort of like this pull and ache. So I love the idea of your demon being a fish out of water, which means you would always have to you'd always have to live on water.
Well, not really, because a fish out of water can go anywhere.
Maybe you walk around with a fishbowl or a tank on wheels. And what would the name of your fish out of water be?
Well, I don't know if that's really my demon, but we'll go with it for now.
Let's go with it. I love this. I love the idea of you with a shopping cart that you stole from the grocery store with a tank in it, with a fish in the tank, and that demon is named
Ruby.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know why. It just came to me right now. We'll see how it feels. We'll try it on.
No wrong answers. I love it. I love it. And the minute that you said that, I pictured a very beautiful, very large, colorful goldfish, sorts of golds and rubies and whites and blacks. And so that's what I'm picturing for you.
Love it. I'll take it. This is my little demon.
My demon, of course, would be fixed as a chihuahua named POTUS.
You already have your demon.
I already have my demon.
Oh, that's amazing.
That reminds me, this is a total tangent and side spark. My sister and I were taking a walk last week, and she said, "What are those weird little free moments in life that bring you joy or personal satisfaction?" And she said that one of hers was when my sister goes for walks, when a branch is lined up just right, she high fives trees.
Oh,
and it gives her joy.
Has she ever seen those videos where like there are trees that will reach to
They reach to you?
Yes.
I didn't ask her, but I will.
Amazes me.
I
Trees
will.
are amazing.
Trees are amazing. And then I said my little moment like that is every night we all get into bed and POTUS waits till the last because he's the smallest and he's probably gotten sat on or stepped on before. So once we're all in bed, the last little tip tap you hear is POTUS tip taps into the room. I lift the blanket up. POTUS gets in. I put the blanket down, and it's like we are all packed down.
Oh, come on. That's the sweetest.
Yeah.
That is so sweet.
But you have your Ruby. I've got my POTUS. Now back to muses and demons. To add to the complexity of all of this, in her 2009 TED Talk, author Liz Gilbert unpacked that what the Greeks called a demon, the Romans referred to as a genius. The Romans believed that a genius was a sort of a magical divine entity who literally lived in the walls of an artist's studio. And this genius would come out and invisibly assist the artist with their work. The muse or demons or geniuses have also been linked to drugs or drink or smoke used to lubricate creativity. So back in the day, a muse priestess might brew, imbibe, or smoke laurel leaves, which had a mild narcotic property. And think about it. In modern times, that might translate into an artist at work nursing a cigarette or a mug of coffee or something even stronger. I think that the ancient concept of the muse informs the modern day trope of the wildly talented but hard drinking novelist, or the pot smoking poet, or the heroin addicted rock superstar. This is your Ernest Hemingways, your Amy Winehouses, your Vincent Van Goghs, your Kurt Cobains.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And somehow we went from someone having a genius, like having a
Yes.
genius that lived in the walls of their studio,
Yeah.
to being a genius.
Yes. And in her TED Talk, I don't talk about this in the Spark, but in her TED Talk, Liz Gilbert talks about how problematic and torturous that would be if you feel like you're responsible for being the genius consistently throughout the course of a creative career. But if it's something that lives outside of you, that you
Yeah.
have this
That
genius
visits you can tap into.
and your job, and we will get into this, your job is simply to show up consistently and do the work. And it's the genius's job to do their pixie dust.
That's right.
This is a beautiful seg into a couple of ways that contemporary artists describe their muse or their genius or their demons or whatever you choose to call it. Stephen King says, and I quote, "There is a muse, but he's not going to come fluttering down into your writing room and scatter creative fairy dust all over your typewriter or computer station. He lives in the ground. He's a basement guy. You have to descend to his level. And once you get down there, you have to furnish an apartment for him to live in. You have to do all the grunt labor, in other words, while the muse sits and smokes cigars and admires his bowling trophies and pretends to ignore you. Do you think this is fair? I think it's fair. He may not be much to look at, that muse guy, and he may not be much of a conversationalist. What I get out of mine is mostly surly grunts unless he's on duty, but he's got the inspiration. It's right that you should do all the work and burn all the midnight oil because the guy with the cigar and the little wings has got a bag of magic. There's stuff in there that can change your life." I think this is precisely what Liz Gilbert is talking about in that TED Talk, that it's your job to go to the basement, show up consistently, do the work, and then this muse guy is going to emerge out of the walls of the studio of the basement, and he's probably going to sit there, puff his cigar, admire his bowling trophies, but he's got the stuff. He's got the stuff, and your job is to show up.
Was it Stephen King who also said, like, the muse will visit, but it needs to find you working?
Laura, that is right. You're so right. The phrase often attributed to Pablo Picasso is inspiration exists, but it has to find you working.
Working. It must find you working. Yeah.
And that's right, because if you're scrolling, you're not working.
Inspiration's going to come and go. It's going
Yeah.
to, like, nothing to be done about it. But if you
Yeah.
are mid sentence when inspiration strikes, you're that.
Thank you for reminding me of that, Laura. That's such a goodie.
My pleasure.
The writer Anne Lamott, who we love, calls her creative intuition her broccoli. Apparently, there's an old Mel Brooks routine where a psychiatrist tells his patient, "Listen to your broccoli, and your broccoli will tell you how to eat it." That's how Anne Lamott feels about her broccoli, aka her creative intuition. If you show up and get quiet and listen, it will guide you, creatively speaking, about what comes next and what comes next and what comes next. Linda Berry, who we also love, describes her muse as a monkey driving a speedboat. As the artist, you are not driving the speedboat. The monkey is. Your job as an artist is to water ski behind the monkey, just following it wherever it takes you and taking really good notes along the way. I think many of us have been sold the story that we just need to wait for the muse to visit or for creative genius to strike, or that we need to artificially lubricate our creativity to get it flowing. But I think if you checked in with people who have a life infused with creativity, like people who are really making things consistently or making their living making things, they are not waiting around for the muse to visit. They are showing up regularly to practice their craft. And when doing so, then the muse visits. Laura, I feel like you're writing a whole book about this.
I was just thinking about that, Susan. I was like, hey, wait a second. Yes, Matt and I are writing a book about this, but it is more in a creative culture environment. So when
Yes.
you work in collaboration with others, how to make creativity a repeatable practice and
Yes.
not waiting for inspiration to strike. Because we all know if you have worked as a creative at any point, those deadlines are not based on when the muse might visit. Those deadlines are on the calendar, and whether you feel inspired or not, you got to dig deep.
Yeah.
So having a personal practice is great.
Super important.
And then you can read the book we're writing and learn how to do it as a team.
You got Laura Camion, co-founder of the Spark File, Matt Goldman, co-founder of Blue Man Group, co-writing a book together. Does it get sparkier than that? I don't think so, friends.
And we have a hype person named Susan Blackwell, so we cannot lose.
It's good stuff.
Thanks, Susan.
I feel like all of this is also articulated well in this quote from the painter Chuck Close. Chuck Close got a little problematic in the last few years, but but this quote, I feel like it still stands.
Stand by the quote.
The advice I like to give young artists, or really anybody who will listen to me, is not to wait around for inspiration. Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work. If you wait around for the clouds to part and a bolt of lightning to strike you in the brain, you are not going to make an awful lot of work. All the best ideas come out of the process. They come out of the work itself. Things occur to you. If you're sitting around trying to dream up a great art idea, you can sit there a long time before anything happens. But if you just get to work, something will occur to you, and something else will occur to you, and something else that you reject will push you in another direction. Inspiration is absolutely unnecessary and somehow deceptive. You feel like you need this great idea before you can get down to work, and I find that's almost never the case. I read another quote recently that put it this way: consistency is a better friend to the artist than genius ever was.
Oof.
Genius is a flake, but consistency always shows up for coffee.
Yes.
Put that yet another way: if you show up regularly and make the space, even a regular 10-minute creative appointment with yourself, you will experience greater payoff than if you wait for creative genius to strike. So whether you want to call it your creative genius, your muse, your demon, the basement guy, your broccoli, your monkey driving a speedboat, I really do think the name of the game is to invite your creativity in consistently. The key is not to wait for the muse to visit you. The key is for you to visit the muse as often as possible.
Yes.
I'm going to say it again. I'm going to print it on a t-shirt. The key to creative flow is not to wait for the muse to visit you. The key is for you to visit the muse as often as possible. And what do we make of that? To take that concept from the theoretical to the actual, to the practicable, we created an exercise called the Daily Muse. The Daily Muse is an exercise that lives in the Spark File creative community. And in brief, it's an exercise you can do every day or every other day or every weekday. Once you know the flow of it, it takes approximately 10 minutes. And on any given day, if you're in the flow and you have the time, you can keep going past 10 minutes. Or if you have to move on with your day, you can move on. But you move on with the satisfaction of having been creatively self-expressed that day. And if you do this 3 days a week or 5 days a week or 7 days a week, that really starts to add up to a consistent coffee date with your creative muse. Further, you can use the familiar framework of the exercise and explore endlessly. So if you choose, it's a fresh prompt every day. We serve you a fresh prompt. And then if you also choose to switch up your means of creative self-expression, say one day it's writing, say one day it's graphic design, say one day it's song composition, say one day it's watercolors, then your creative exploration is multiplied exponentially. And for most of us, we can find 10 minutes a day. If you, for me, I'll just speak for myself, by cutting out 10 minutes of scrolling or borrowing 10 minutes from your workday, as long as it doesn't imperil your job, 10 minutes is not hard to find. So I have been playing with the Daily Muse exercise about, I'm going to say about 5 times per week.
Nice.
And Laura, I want to report back to you because I haven't really reported back to you.
I know. I've been curious.
It's really fun. And it's really something because, you know, they said, you know, that saying about like, teach the thing you need to learn.
Yes.
This was an example, full disclosure, pulling back the curtain. This was make the exercise you need in your life. I was really bemoaning to Laura. I was like, I just need raw, creative self-expression.
Just getting it up and out.
It's not productive in any way. It's just being creative. My primary means of expression have been writing and watercoloring.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
And I'm just doing it not because I'm looking to make work that I love. I'm doing it because I'm just looking to make work.
That is the best. Oh my gosh.
Because I'm just putting in reps. It's like going to the gym and putting in reps.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like an artist.
Yes. Well, first of all, you are one. And second of all, that makes perfect sense because we are what we do. We can sit around all day long and say like, I'm a marathoner. I have not run, I haven't run a mile in a long time. But so it's not what we say we are, it's what we do.
Yeah. And so I've been doing it and I leave I'm lucky that I have enough space that I can sort of leave the watercolors out and a jar of water and a paintbrush and a notebook. And it's so easy to find 10 minutes. It's genuinely easy because I would have devoted that time to scrolling.
That's right. That time will get eaten in so many ways and meaningless ways. So why not make the commitment to first I shall do this. 10 minutes of this and see where it goes.
And just even to take the brush, wet it, and do a color study of all the colors that are in the watercolor case. Just that, just like it's so pleasurable. Or to freehand a landscape, or to freehand an abstract, or to write a passage. I am always surprised at what these daily prompts that come up. I have my mind blown. I cannot believe that's what I wrote that day.
I blew my own mind.
I blew my own mind. I'm really loving it. I'm really loving the Daily Muse. It's fun.
I love it. It makes me so happy, honestly.
And the aim with all of this is to normalize getting you into flow fairly quickly and consistently, and to cultivate a practice that teaches you that consistency is more important than a muse or a genius or a demon. Also, you don't have to give up your whole life and become an art monk, and you don't have to become an addict. You can generate a consistent creative practice wherever you're at in life. You can just meet yourself where you're at. And super bonus, if you're a member of the SparkFile creative community, not only do you get access to this Daily Muse exercise, if you're so moved, you can share your works in progress in a supportive space in response to this Daily Muse exercise. So we have the cabaret car where people can share out loud or say, look at this watercolor I made. And we host that in our creativity lab. So you could access this and so much more in the SparkFile creative community. It really is a creative sanctuary for people to meet themselves and their creativity wherever they're at.
That's right. Best way to feel like a creative is by being creative. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm so surprised. This is the feeling I was seeking when we crafted the exercise, Laura. But I'm like, this feels so much better than 10 minutes of scrolling. This feels so much better than 10 minutes of watching a TV show or fill in the blank, like online shopping, whatever your dopamine is, like it feels so much deeper and so much more satisfying, even though they're just like small little creative sprints. Gentle, really fun.
So
So,
good.
in conclusion, while the Muse may have once been the daughter of Zeus, who we hoped might visit us and sprinkle us with inspiration dust, now we are taking matters into our own hands. And where I come out on all of this, what I make of it anyway, is the key is not to wait for the Muse to visit you. The key is for you to visit the Muse as often as possible, however you wish, be that 10 minutes of writing or watercoloring or starting that novel you always wanted to write, or in the case of some of our SparkFile course participants, making that nonfiction book you've always wanted to make, processing your lived experience into essay or a nonfiction coffee table book about bees. All of these are just such great ways of you visiting the Muse. Not to be spark.
I love it. I feel inspired. I feel inspired by my demon. Just have a name for it.
Ruby.
And yeah, to hook up with that Muse as much as possible.
Love all of this. Love the spark file. Love you, Laura Camion. Love Ruby,
Aw.
the big, beautiful fish.
Love you, love POTUS. That's it.
That's it. This episode of the Spark File was made on the lands of the Lenape people and the Mohican people, and it was sponsored by our muses and demons. As always, we hope this put another bunch of sparks in your file. Listen to me. If there's a spark you'd like us to explore, or if you'd like to learn more about how you can get your creativity rocking and popping with us, you can email getcreative@thesparkfile.com, or you can reach us through our website, thesparkfile.com.
We will even happily take your feedback, but you know the price of admission. First, you have to share a creative risk that you have taken recently.
You can follow us on social @The Spark File, and be sure to subscribe, rate, and 5-star review this podcast. It really helps other listeners to find us. Also, if you like this podcast, we hope you'll share it with the people that you love. And if you didn't like it, my demon is just going to latch onto your neck and not really. Have you met POTUS? He would never.
Not POTUS.
Not POTUS.
If something lights you up and gets your creative sparks flying, we are writing you a forever permission slip to make that thing that's been knocking at your door. It's your turn to take that spark and fan it into a flame.
You got to take it
and make it.
Oh, Ruby.
Oh, POTUS.
When I bump into something that inspires me, I dump it in my spark file. Could be something that I want to make or how I want to be. I pump it in my spark file. I jump into my spark file. Let's open up the spark file.
Hey everybody, this is Jeffrey Scott Parsons. I have just realized that I don't like the sound of my own voice, which is hilarious because I've started a podcast. Here's the deal. When we are younger, let's say 8 to 10 years old, we find filters through which we relate and understand the world. They're usually artistic in nature. Sometimes we find books, music. A lot of people find movies. For me, I found musical theater. Musical theater was my little Instagram filter through which I began to relate to the world. And that meant that the reason I knew about FDR and the New Deal in school was because of Annie. And the reason I could name all 12 tribes of Israel at church was because of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And if I'm being totally honest, a few years later, as I got older, the way that I was able to process the death of my close family members was by watching Ragtime. That's why I wanted to create a podcast, was to have conversations about musical theater that felt more profound than the razzmatazz that we usually use to get people to buy tickets. Because let's be honest, I don't care if you think that musical theater is cool. Cool is overrated. I live in Los Angeles, so I know that cool is very overrated. But I do know that musical theater is important. And those are the conversations that I want to be having on this podcast. Here's how it's going to work. Every week, we're going to pick a show. And for that show, I'm going to have a guest, and we're going to have a conversation about that show, about that musical. So what are the musicals we're going to cover? These musicals can be hits. Maybe they're not. There's no shortage of musicals. Let's say, okay, the first musical to win the Tony Award for Best Musical was in 1949, Kiss Me Kate, right? So now we're in 2019. So if we just did the Best Musical winners, and that's not even including the musicals that didn't win Best Musical, like Beauty and the Beast, or West Side Story, or Wicked, or what else? Funny Girl, Gypsy. I think what will be really fun is that every guest is going to bring something different, and everybody has different tastes in terms of what they like the shows to be. Some of these shows will be some of my favorite shows. Some of them will be favorites of the guests. Some of them might be your favorites. And that might mean that we're covering a musical that I don't really care for. I'm looking at you, Mamma Mia. But it's one of the longest running shows in Broadway history, so who am I to say that people aren't connecting to it? So we'll look at it and we'll at least come up with a hypothesis as to why people connect to this show and why it's bringing them joy. So I want to hear from you. If you have an idea for a show that you would want us to cover, just email us at amusicalpodcast@gmail.com, or you can always contact us on Twitter at a musical podcast. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. Tell me what show you wanted us to cover, and then you have to give me a good reason. It can't just be, maybe it can just be, I did this show in my community theater and I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. If that's it, just be honest. I want to hear your reasonings why. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to the podcast whenever you can, and share it with your friends. Because at the end of the day, you're another day older. No, at the end of the day, I want this to be a community where people can come and celebrate this art form in a way that maybe doesn't get explored as much. So please call me Jeff and bring along your show albums, because we're about to get turned up. No, that's terrible. So please call me Jeff and get ready, because a musical theater podcast is starting now.
Stitch Fix. Stop shopping, get styled.
A+ on the outfit, Miss Turner. You were about to slay parent-teacher conferences.
Oh, these? Just the most perfect fitting jeans my stylist sent me.
Oh, hello, you, who didn't set one foot in a mall and still looks amazing.
Just share your size, style, and budget, and your stylist sends personalized looks right to your door. Stitch Fix. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
To my stylist. This look is dedicated to you. Thank you. Thank you.